She didn't run. She didn't hide. She crouched down, smiled, and handed a starving child a piece of candy. Then she watched the truck doors close. This is the story of Elsa Ehrich, the woman they called the commandant of the women's camp at Majdanek. A church-baptized Protestant, a former slaughterhouse worker, someone's neighbor, and one of the most feared figures in the Nazi camp system. By the end of this story, she'll be standing on a gallows in Lublin, Poland. The question is, how does an ordinary woman get there? Before we examine the rest of the evidence, I want your take. Do you think history usually tells the full story, or just the version that survived? Let me know below. I read every angle. And if you want more cases like this, where we lay everything out and let you decide, subscribe and stay with us. March 8, 1914. The town of Majdanek, in the German Empire. A working-class family welcomes a daughter, Elsa Frieda Ehrich. Her father guides river boats for a living. Nothing about this birth suggests history will remember it. And that's the unsettling part, isn't it? There's no warning sign. No early cruelty. Just a quiet childhood in a quiet town, the kind of beginning that fills the background of 1,000 forgotten lives. She finishes school. Takes a job at a slaughterhouse. Unremarkable work, but it teaches her something. The ability to look at a living creature and feel nothing. That's the part that gets me. Not the camps. Not yet. Just a young woman learning to look away. That's where it starts. Not with orders. With practice. Between 1930 and 1933, the Great Depression tears through Germany. 6 million unemployed. Bread lines stretching down city blocks. And into that vacuum walks a man with simple answers for complicated pain, Adolf Hitler. Within weeks of his appointment as Chancellor, the first camps appear, run by the SS, Hitler's paramilitary enforcement arm. Originally for political prisoners. But that would not hold. Elsa was 19 when Hitler came to power. Watching. And, by every account, interested. August 15, 1940. Germany has already taken Poland, France, most of Western Europe. And on this day, Elsa Ehrich walks into a recruitment office. No coercion. No threat. She volunteers. Let that sit for a second. She chose this. She's assigned to Ravensbrück, the only major camp built exclusively for women. Over 132,000 women would pass through its gates. More than 92,000 never left. Within a year, Ehrich rises to Rapportführerin, a report leader. Her job, run roll calls, enforce discipline, report infractions. Roll calls that lasted hours. In freezing temperatures. Sick women. Pregnant women. All forced to stand, while guards walked the lines looking for a reason. Her superiors take notice of her efficiency. In October 1942, she receives a transfer east. A promotion. To a place that would close to civilians could see the smoke rising from its chimneys on a clear day. This wasn't hidden in a forest. This was Majdanek. When the first women arrive at Majdanek in October 1942, the barracks aren't even finished. No heating. No working toilets. Bunks stacked 3 high. Stripped the moment they arrive. Forced to undress in front of male personnel. One survivor, Jadwiga Wierzbicka, said resistance was the first instinct, until the yelling started. Until the beating started. Names are replaced with numbers. Even children deported with their mothers are filed under her asterisk number, because the system didn't expect them to live long enough to need their own. Elsa Ehrich is placed in command of the entire women's camp. Alongside her deputy, a name that would echo through history in its own right, Hermine Braunsteiner. And she controls everything. Labor assignments. Food. Medicine. Shelter. And the selections. Majdanek's chambers operated from October 1942 through late 1943. Former shower rooms, retrofitted. Zyklon B, carbon monoxide. Thousands processed. And Ehrich had a method. A horrifying one. She'd walk into the children's barracks herself. Smiling. Carrying cocoa. Sweets. Starving children, lighting up at the sight of her. Taking what she offered with trembling hands. And while they were still eating, the trucks pulled up. Survivors later testified to this exact scene. The candy. The smiles. The silence that followed. This is where the story refuses easy categories. Because Elsa Ehrich, this same woman, had a son of her own. Alive, somewhere in Germany. A mother, and an architect of this. That's not a contradiction history can resolve. It's just true. Away from the selections, Ehrich ran daily violence through the camp herself. Former inmates called her primitive, but that word doesn't capture the calculation. She targeted the weakest, the elderly, the sick. A blow to the face, hard enough to fracture bone. And she did it without anger. Witnesses said her expression was something closer to satisfaction. Dr. Stefania Przanowska, a physician imprisoned at Majdanek, once asked Ehrich for a small milk ration for sick infants. Erich's answer was a slap across the face. "This is not a sanatorium," she said. "This is a death camp." Dr. Przanowska later testified, and I'm paraphrasing closely here, that no SS woman beat prisoners with the same cold zeal as Elsa Ehrich. Never showed mercy. Not once. By late 1943, resistance is spreading, uprisings at Treblinka, Sobibor, the ghettos of Warsaw and Vilna. Himmler's response is immediate and absolute. November 3rd and 4th, 1943. Operation Harvest Festival, the single largest coordinated action of its kind during the Holocaust. Approximately 42,000 people marched to pre-dug trenches. And to cover the sound, they played music. Loud. Upbeat. Over everything. Ehrich supervised the loading of the sick onto open trucks, in November cold. When Dr. Przanowska threw blankets over them, the only mercy she could offer, Ehrich tore them off, raised her whip, struck her, and said, calmly, "Do not waste hospital property." 42,000 people. In 2 days. Majdanek's population went from majority Jewish to almost none. By summer 1944, the Red Army advances. Majdanek is evacuated. Ehrich is transferred, Plasso, then Neuengamme, until the Reich collapses entirely in 1945. British forces arrest her in Hamburg that May. She's handed to US custody at Dachau, sharing a cell, briefly, with Maria Mandel. Another name that would also end at a gallows. In 1948, she's extradited to Poland. The second Majdanek trial, District Court of Lublin. Survivor after survivor takes the stand. The evidence wasn't thin. It was overwhelming. Verdict, guilty, on all counts. Sentence, death. Afterward, Ehrich petitions for clemency. She cites her son. Says she wants to atone. President Beirut rejects it. October 26, 1948. Lublin Prison. Elsa Ehrich is 34 years old. The woman who never hesitated to raise her fist. Who looked a dying woman in the eye and told her not to waste hospital property. She walks to the gallows. History doesn't preserve her final words. Only the outcome. Her path ended there, and over 80,000 people had already perished at Majdanek under her command. No tears were recorded for Elsa Ehrich. But the children who climbed onto those trucks holding candy, they deserve to grow up. To argue with their parents. To laugh too loud. They got none of it. That's why this story doesn't get buried. Not here. If this one stayed with you, and it should have, tell us in the comments, do you think justice, even decades late, means anything at all? We read every single one. This is the Commandant. We'll see you on the next one.